Hi, Megan, and thank you for joining me for this luscious, revitalizing, restorative practice. And it's specifically for digestion. And digestion, we often think of as the physical level of what we eat, but digestion also has to do with all of our experiences and our mental health, digesting those experiences. So this is a practice that is good for both. And you may notice that you can have issues with your digestion because of something you ate, but you can also have issues with your digestion because of your mental state. So that's the beauty of yoga and Ayurveda's understanding of digestion, which is really prominent in Ayurveda, is that we want to keep things moving, but at a good, healthy pace. So you can see I have a blanket down. Go ahead and cush up your mat for yourself and grab any pillows, blankets, anything you've got. If you do have yoga bolsters, I can show these poses with bolsters, but I don't expect you to have them. So I'll also show them with pillows and blankets, blocks you can have. I would like you to have a strap that closes. Again, if you don't, you can do it without it, or even like a robe belt works great. So we're going to start on our backs, and you're going to take just a small blanket. So I have some thicker ones and thinner ones. And the setup takes a while for restorative because you're going to be in these poses for at least 10 minutes. So take your time and make it feel really yummy. So this is about the thickness that I'm going to go with. And I'm going to put this blanket right underneath me. So it's going to go basically under my back. And I'm going to bring it just so if you feel where your high waist is, you don't necessarily want your lumbar spine on it. It'll start at the high waist. So you can scoot your butt maybe a couple inches from where the blanket is. Then you're going to take the belt, if you have it, put the belt around your, let's go around our pelvis first. So you're going to go around the pelvis and touch your lovely sacrum with it if you want, your sacred sacrum. And then put the belt in the inner knees, following me still, and then around the pinky toe side of the feet. So what you're doing is creating a Baddha Konasana with support, and then pull that belt just a little bit. So what happens is when you lay back, it's going to, if it's too close, if your feet are too close, your feet are going to lift off the ground. But you want the belt across the low sacrum and then across the feet. So you feel a little bit of support and nice little bit of touching in the inner thighs there. Then before you go down, grab either some blankets, pillows. I've got blocks here, but something to put underneath your knees. And if you're more open in your inner groins, then you can probably do something lower. I'm not, so I know about where I like to support myself. And usually the rule in restorative is however far you can go to your endpoint, lift up about an inch above that and then support yourself so you're not feeling overstretched. We're trying to calm the nervous system. And then the last little bit here is to take a blanket. So I like to cover the feet. And there's a couple different ways to do this. So you can take a blanket, open it up long, and then put your feet. It sounds like a lot to do, right? But once you get there, you'll see why we're doing all this. Put your feet on the blanket, and then take that blanket, take one end and bring it in through the legs, and then the other end and in through the legs. So you're wrapping your feet, and then you can even take the tail and tuck it under. You're wrapping your feet up. And I like to kind of pull the two ends. It's like two little tails down there. Pull them tight and put them underneath your ankles for even more support. Okay, so check your legs first. And then you're going to go down and you'll have that blanket underneath your back, just a little light lift, and your head will be off the blanket. The shoulders will be on the blanket. So the majority of your spine is on there. Then make any little adjustments to feel good. Check to see that the strap is falling in a good space on your sacrum, not on your low back, but right on that sacred sacrum. And then strap on the inner thighs. You've got your knees supported. Let's start first with our hands in the space that we think of as digestion, which is down in the belly. Just be present in that area. Notice where your hands are, but then feel the backside. A very important part of digestion is feeling supported. So physically, where do you feel support from the ground right now? Where do you feel support from your props? And can you allow that support to hold you? With any argument gone, vanishing, just noticing what parts of your body are touching the ground physically and falling into that support. And from this position, we can visualize the digestion all the way down to where the hands are. And the simplification of our digestive system is just think of it as tubes, starting all the way at the mouth, going through your throat. And much of the path of digestion is also the path of your breath. So begin to feel the breath in your mouth, in your throat. Maybe even breathing to the base of the throat, the back of the mouth. If you'd like, you can breathe in and out of your nose. Imagine a tasty or pleasurable smell coming in your nostrils as you breathe in. And allow that to carry into your throat. Mouth is relaxed. You can rest your tongue just on the roof of the mouth behind the teeth. Let it fall back. Let the teeth fall slightly apart. So we recognize that the first part of digestion actually takes place in the mouth itself. So relaxing the teeth, the tongue, and breathing into the throat. And digestion in its very beginning stages is a way that we can stimulate our chakras, because it's the sense of smell that's associated with the Muladhara, or your root chakra. And we're taking this first pose partially to ground, to feel support. So that imagery of a smell might come to mind. But also taste. And that's where your digestion starts, is with taste in the mouth. And that stimulates the Svadhisthana chakra, the sacral center. So when we take our time and do mindful or even contemplative eating, noticing smells and tastes before we even swallow, we're giving ourselves an opportunity to stimulate these energetic areas in our body. Maybe you just want to bring yourself back into your physical body again and just notice, are you in a space of comfort? Or if you need to make any changes, please do. We will be here, like I said, for at least another 10 minutes. Do you feel held? Or is there any part of your body that's struggling or fighting this position? Then bring extra support in. Or if you find your hands no longer want to be on your abdomen, you're welcome to take them somewhere else. But continue to focus for the moment on your mouth and your throat. Smell and taste. And it's such an important part of the digestion of the food that we take in, but often rushed through and overlooked. So while we're focusing on the head, please experience yourself through some of your other senses. Just noticing your right and your left eye, right and left ear, even the skin on your face. Think of the sense of touch. So digestion, again, is not just what we take in through our mouth. It's what we take in with all of our senses, all of our experiences. Let this position of support be a place where you can slow those down, just like you can slow down your eating. You can slow down all of the input from your other senses. Just be present in this space in your body. Feel the softness of your eyelids touching your eyes. You can let your jaw relax towards your ears and let your ears soften. Release your brow, your cheeks, all the skin around your mouth. It's an opportunity to acknowledge what is it that you might be digesting at this moment. Not just the meal you ate, but anything else that you've taken in today through your vision, hearing, touch. All of your doors of perception. Wanting to be acknowledged and understood. And in Ayurveda, the term we use is Agni, which sometimes is called your digestive fire, but it's really the metabolism of everything in your body. It's the intellectual knowledge of each cell of your body and its ability to recognize and process information, whether it be through your mouth in the form of food, or through your eyes, your ears, your nose. And we want to have a strong, healthy Agni, an ability to digest everything we bring in, to metabolize our food, but also to metabolize our thoughts. And there's a sense of consciousness to our digestion in this space. You can even go back as far as the recognition of before you eat something, the emotions, the awareness that goes into preparing the food, the idea of conscious cooking. In Ayurveda, it's said that the emotions or feeling state that you're feeling both when you prepare food and when you take it in will either benefit or detract from your digestive experience, from that Agni. And back to the physical level, can you still feel soft and supported? And the breath out is considered the cleansing, the purging, your opportunity to release the backside into the ground. But before we can eliminate anything, it has to be digested. And both in our intellect and food, what do we process and keep to vitalize ourselves? And what is eliminated in the end? If you'd like to just slightly enhance your breath, perhaps your hands are still on your abdomen, or if not, visualize the space around your navel center. Take the breath from the throat all the way down into the abdomen. Think of this space of gut health. It even has its own name, the enteric nervous system. It has its own functioning and processing separate from the rest of our nervous system. Truly the point of gut health. Just breathing into this space, recognizing when we were in the head and the throat and the doors of perception, that was our opportunity to digest from the mind, to notice what's coming in, and now bring it down into this space, in and around your abdomen. I'm going to leave you in this position for a few more minutes in silence. Check to see that you're completely comfortable. If you're at all cold and you have another blanket, feel free to put it on you. But staying present in the simplicity of just feeling support again, feeling the sweetness of the blanket wrapped around your feet, the physical spaciousness that we're creating in the inner thighs and the abdomen in this position, in the chest, the throat. Just allowing that exhalation to the abdomen get a little bit longer and slower and more complete. And even hanging out in that space at the bottom of the breath out, that peaceful pause. Remember that it's normal for your mind to wander off. Just bring it back to this place of quiet and stillness and support. We can lessen the work of our nervous system, less to take in, less to digest. Giving the whole nervous system a chance to linger in the peaceful pause at the bottom of your exhalation. The brain that you have in your skull, that lovely brain, and the brain that you have in your abdomen. Appreciating this slowing down, the easing into the support of the whole back body. Take 5 more rounds of soft, slow breath. Just noticing the breath as it comes through the mouth cavity, the throat. Think of it following those tubes of digestion all the way down to the abdomen. And restorative yoga is the dessert poses of yoga. So just like savoring your very favorite dessert with no guilt, all loving kindness. We'll slowly come out of this posture. So it might start by, if you want to grab the strap, if you have that on, Just pull your feet a little bit closer so you can take your feet out. You might use your hands on your outer thighs and press your legs back up with your hands. We still have the blanket underneath our back, but what you can do is move any supports aside that were underneath the knees. We're just going to do a few soft windshield wipers, just letting your knees fall to one side as you breathe out, coming back to the center as you breathe in, and then the opposite side. If you prefer to just be still after the posture, oftentimes in restorative you can just extend your legs or leave your knees bent with feet on the ground. But if you like just a little bit of movement, just let the legs go back and forth. And do whatever feels soothing and relaxing for you in between postures. Feeling the way the gravity can just let your legs fall if you're moving your legs, or just holding you if you're being still. And if you are letting your legs windshield wiper, this will give you a little bit of moving preparation for the next pose. We're going to do a reclining rotation. So to come out completely, roll to one side or the other. And you still have the blanket under there. You might use your arm as a pillow too, and just pause on your side. See how you feel. And those are big words. See how you feel. The word intimacy, I like to write it as in to me I see. And this is a practice of intimacy. Let's get set up for the second posture. We're going to be rotating to the right first. So you may want to take a blanket and put it to your left side. If you know you like a pillow or blanket or something underneath your head, please feel free to do that too. Or what I like to do is a little bit of a neck roll. So if you have a blanket, you can open it up, give it a little roll. So the idea will be this, the roll part will go underneath the neck and you'll still have a little lift for the head of the rest of the blanket. So let's see if I can get it to the right spot here. Oh, and if you have that strap around, you can take it off. Unless it's not bothering you, just leave it there. So the first thing I'll do is feet on the ground. Get that neck roll where I want it. Just a nice little bit of support right in the arch of your neck. So in the cervical spine, you can check that, see if it's the right height for you. And then the base of the skull supported by the remainder of the blanket. Then you're going to also want a pillow, a block, maybe a couple of things, some blankets to the right side of you. So blankets, pillows to the left hip and the right hip. With your feet on the ground, this will be the most effort we make today probably. Press your feet down, lift your hips up like you're coming to a bridge pose, and then shift your hips over to the left. And as you're doing that, put a blanket so it's basically more or less under just your left butt cheek. So you'll feel like you're going to fall off there. And then you're going to take the legs, draw them into your body, so just to where it's comfortable, and slowly let them fall to the right. So what the idea is, you're going to want that blanket to the, let's see, I'll show it this way with a pillow. You're going to want the blanket underneath the back, supporting the back on that left side. So if you need to pull it in more, feel free to do that. But if you shifted and you're on there, you shouldn't roll all the way off. You should still feel like you've got some support. So then the other thing is You want to support the lower leg and probably, let's see what I've got here, so many things, between the legs, or maybe you just want between the legs and not the lower leg. But again, less is more, right? We're going to be here for a bit. So we're coming into rotation, completely supported. If you do prefer to do this pose with the legs extended, you can do that too. Sometimes the knees don't want to be in flexion, and you're welcome to do that, particularly if you've been sitting a lot. But the important part is that your legs and your back is fully supported. So if you need to pull that blanket in more and then let your left hip fall onto it. And at that point, if you want to turn your head to one side or the other, you can. So typically in a reclining rotation, we make a big fuss about keeping our shoulder blades on the ground. If it feels better, you can take your left hand and just set it on your ribs, particularly if that left shoulder blade's lifting off the ground. Let it lift, and maybe it'll fall over time. Again, your gaze can go to one side or the other if you'd like to. But start to notice the feeling of support on the back side, letting that left hip fall. But on the front side, letting the outer right thigh fall. And sense the rotation. Your shoulder blades supported by the ground. Right hip on the ground and left hip perhaps slightly stacked on top of the right. So just processing the position itself of the body. You can think of your spinal column and the way the spine is rotated. But you might also sense there's a little more openness and spaciousness in the left side of the body. You could even take your right hand and rub that area. If you've got a hip that's talking to you like I do, rub your hip as well. Think of all of your organs in that left side. So we come into the stomach, the spleen, even your heart. We probably don't typically think of the heart as a digestive organ, but I do, because we need to digest emotions. Getting that Agni to a place where it feels strong and supported requires that loving kindness, particularly towards yourself. And even in struggles. Think of this whole left side of your body. And the stomach is there, your spleen. So we get into the metabolic process and then the release. You can even picture your descending colon on the left side. Whatever keeps you in this space where you're no longer digesting things outside of you. Those doors of perception have all been asked to come inside. And we practice what I call the anatomy of imagery, just imaging these organs. You could even think of your left lung. Breathe into your left lung and know that as you do that, you're gently moving the organs in that left side. All of the connective tissue between the organs, the lung, the heart. Just giving them a gentle ride just through your breath. Checking again that you feel fully supported and comfortable. And can you just offer your organs of digestion a moment of gratitude? And now we are working more specifically in the torso. But you can think about what experiences you've brought in that you're digesting and how might those benefit or be difficult on your heart. Breath out continues to let the body be heavy. You can feel the way the bones will just hold you in this position, support of any blankets or pillows. Almost like the ground comes up and wraps itself around you. Oftentimes in yoga, we will say that twists are detoxifying for the organs. Perhaps they are. That's of great debate. But it certainly is good for your digestion just to be present in this space, particularly the left side of your body, and offering any positive affirmations to your heart, your stomach, spleen. Maybe even taking that breath into your left lung. If your hand is there, focus on breathing fully into the left rib cage. Okay. Soothing massage for your organs that your breath can create through that gentle movement. Again, I'm going to be quiet for a moment or two and just let you be present in this space. The physical layer, which includes the organs, your pranic layer, your breath, or even the layer of emotion. Is there an emotion that you're processing right now, that you're digesting? Take 5 to 8 more rounds of breath. If you'd like, that can be into your left lung. Maybe your head's turned and you notice the change of the shape of your breath going through your throat. Remembering that first point of digestion. And the legs are heavy. falling to the right, shoulders to the ground. Appreciating the spaciousness in your left side. When you're ready to come out, if your left arm is extended, take it in and place it on your body somewhere, hand on your body, and begin to slide the arm in. We're going to roll to the right side first before we come out. So roll the left shoulder, stack it on top of the right. Just pause on your side for a moment. It might feel good just to take your top left hip and roll it around in circles, or you can slide it forward and back a little bit. Just some simple movements that we do. We work on digestion, but of course there's that physical layer that's always responding. So if you feel like you stretched your low back or your hip a little bit, just ease it out with some gentle movement. If your shoulder got the stretch, maybe in the pectoral region, same thing, you can roll your left shoulder around. And just be still. So this is a asymmetrical pose, so we get to do it again to the other side. And take your time. You can remove any props if you'd like. Roll back onto your backside. So I'm particular about what I like with my supports. I prefer pillows on the knees and blanket under my back. So I'm going to switch mine out, but that's up to you. I forgot, if you have the bolster, you can also put the bolster here. I was supposed to show you with a bolster, but I'm doing the clean loving. We all have blankets around, right? So check your neck roll. Is that still in the right place? Knees bent, feet on the floor. And then this time you're going to press in, lift up just enough to shift your hips to the right, and then you can pull that blanket in a little bit. Let it be underneath your full right buttock, so right about to the center of the spine. And then you're going to bring your legs in towards your body, hug them in just a little bit. You might have that bottom pillow there ready to catch your left leg. And then slowly guide your legs over to the left, where you can put a second pillow between your knees. And don't be surprised if one side needs more or less padding than the other. And if I were there with you, I'd pull this blanket in a little bit more. I like to kind of smush it up there, so you feel like your kidneys are being caressed by that blanket. So go ahead and do that for yourself. And then if it's comfortable for your shoulder joint, you can extend your right arm. In restorative, I prefer to bend the elbow and place my hand on my ribs just so that my grumpy pectoral muscles don't yell at me. But it's not about stretching restorative. It's about releasing, relaxing, and opening. So now we're opening the right side. Feel free to turn your head either way if you'd like. Take a moment to make sure everything's where you want it. Sometimes an inch here or there can really make it that much more juicy. And maybe your left hand wants to be on your right side too. Just acknowledging the physical stretch, outer right hip or shoulder. And encouraging you to breathe into the right lung. See if you can gently separate your ribs on the right side as you breathe in. Notice the ribs sliding back together as you breathe out. And I'm sure you didn't hear it on camera, but my stomach is making noises. Don't be surprised if yours does. Your organs will often make noises when they relax. a good sign of relaxation. Unfortunately, however, in Ayurveda, they will tell you that things like gas and bloating are a sign of um, issues with your Agni, particularly what we call having too much ama, which is ama's like the leftover icky stuff that we don't want, that we're not able to digest. So that whole metabolic process not being able to keep up. And there's lots of reasons. It can be emotional. It can also be for eating a lot of foods with, that are just not right for our what we call dosha type, but also preservatives, things that our body has a difficult time digesting. So organ noises, let them be noisy, let them talk to you. But these are just some of the ways we know where we are in our digestive state, in our health, and catching any of that imbalance before it becomes problematic. So in that right side, lovely liver, gallbladder. You can visualize your ascending colon and then the transverse in the middle too. We don't want to leave that out. When was the last time you said thank you to your colon or your liver? Or you gave your kidneys some sweetness, sweet support. Just keep feeling that support, breathing into your right side. All these processes that are always happening, and half the time when we're eating, we're not even thinking about them because we don't have to. But it's good every now and again to try eating a meal in silence, paying full attention to the whole process of digestion from beginning to end. So starting with the mouth, actually starting with the nose and then the mouth. So many times when we're eating, we're doing 2 or 3 other things too, right? So now just being in this space. Whatever you've had today, acknowledging it. Both in food and drink and experience. Feel the freshness of the prana coming in, filling your right lung. Gently changing the shape of your organs. All the while your bones are heavy. They're holding you in this position so that all of the muscles can relax onto the bones. We'll take some time again in silence so you can be present in your body on your own terms. Become aware of where you go in the silence. You still feel the support, and what's the level of support? And all these processes that generally go unnoticed, unappreciated. Give them your undivided attention and loving kindness. Love up your liver. Breathe into your right lung. Notice again the shape of your mouth and your throat, if your head's turned. And taking your last few breaths. And if your arm is extended, your right arm, take it back to your body. Begin to slide the arm towards the center of your belly and roll onto your left side this time for a moment before you come out. And once you're on your left side, move this. You can leave your blanket, but feel free to take your right hip and just gently roll it in circles. Like you're just cleansing any stickiness in the physical body. Or you can just bring the hip and the leg forward and back a little bit, up and down. If you want to do the same with the right shoulder, just roll the right shoulder around. Before you come out completely, come back onto your back. And if you'd like to do a position of Shavasana, you could even take, because we've got all these little yummy things, you could take a pillow underneath the knees, let your legs extend, maybe a blanket on top of you. Sometimes I'm concerned about doing these things in video because who knows where I might slip off to. But a blanket is comforting, right? So cover yourself up. If you have an eye pillow, put your eye pillow on. And let your body find the most natural, neutral position you can. We'll just take a few minutes here. You could take your hands back onto your abdomen, acknowledging your gut brain, as smart as it is, and ask it, has it been getting too much information, too much processing, not enough? As we know, in the end result, with our elimination, things can move too fast through us, too much fire, or they can move too slowly, not enough fire. And take this time in this final relaxation to think what would bring you into balance in your digestive system, and not only with the foods that you eat, but what you do with your brain on a day-to-day basis? Do you need more stimulation or less? Just like foods can be more stimulating if we eat spicy food. Certain things will increase digestion and others will slow it down. The same can be said with the type of music we listen to, the books we read, anything that we intake through our senses. Can you feel where you're supported again on your backside? Trusting that support, appreciating it, utilizing it to give your body this chance to come into a space of digest and rest. When you're ready to come out, feel free to, and you can always stay here longer. Please do if you have the time. But take a little stretch if you'd like. Maybe push through one leg and the other. Move your arms. Movement can be good for digestion too. Always nice to take a walk after we eat. And taking your time coming up wherever you may be. The beauty of home practice, you don't have to come up either. You can stay where you are. Life is always a process, isn't it? And it's a process that I hope for you, more things happen for you than to you. But sometimes they do happen to us. Like eating a meal that we know we shouldn't eat. We do it anyhow. We can't always control what it is that we're digesting. So these practices can help us. Thank you for joining me. And I save this for the end, holding it together. I want to thank all of you for all of your support in losing my beloved Bodhi boy. Thank you. Peace, joy, love, and light.